Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at McFarlane DC Multiverse Infinite Frontier Scarecrow, and this is the Gold Label Entertainment Earth Blacklight exclusive. I pre-ordered this thing a while ago, and it finally arrived today. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, this is part of the Gold Label collection. A Gold Label release is simply a retailer exclusive, whether it be Target, Walmart, or Amazon. This particular Gold Label is an Entertainment Earth exclusive. DC, ages 12 plus, Infinite Frontier, Scarecrow, Infinite Frontier Blacklight Edition. Entertainment Earth, exclusive, limited to 3,000 pieces, McFarlane Toys, authenticated limited edition. One side of the package, Scarecrow, Infinite Frontier, Blacklight. Other side is totally blank, a little QR code at the bottom. On the back side, you can see Scarecrow from Infinite Frontier. Looks quite a bit different than the figure. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is his barcode, in case that helps anybody. This is one of McFarlane's deluxe figures. It has the outer sleeve. Go ahead and take that off, exposing the figure. Very bright and colorful. Should be able to react to blacklight. He has a display stand, collector's card, and I'm sure there are more goodies underneath. I believe he comes with the actual blacklights. Now, normally I order 2 of these figures, if they're Batman related. One of which to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. But for whatever reason, Entertainment Earth shipped me one of each figure, and put the others on back order, so I imagine I'll get them when they get some more. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. He doesn't come with any character-specific accessories, but he has a collector's card, a display stand for the collector's card, and then an elaborate blacklight stand. But before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Scarecrow from the Infinite Frontier. He has quite a unique design in that story. Not only that, but this is the Entertainment Earth exclusive Blacklight Edition. So, let's take a look. Start with his head here. Now he has that traditional sort of bamboo or straw Japanese hat. I believe it's called a kasa. Coloring is ridiculous. He's got pink and neon green and light blue all over him. Definitely not typical of your Scarecrow design. Looks like he might have mixed something psychedelic in with that fear toxin. Looking at his face here, he's got a big snout, but it's a gas mask, long black hair, which is not typical of Jonathan Crane. He's got this pink sort of tube coming from what looks like his hat, all the way to his arm, going to those needles for fingertips to inject the fear toxin. He has, I don't know, sort of a poncho or shawl type thing. You have different layers you can see underneath each layer. And then more, exposing a more or less traditional body underneath. Looks like double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. On the back side here, this is supposed to be sticks or straw. The paint job does not look that way, but the paint job on the original one didn't look that way either. As a whole, it's an interesting figure to say the least, but it is definitely not my ideal version of Scarecrow by any stretch of imagination. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Unique to say the least. I don't think I've ever seen Scarecrow drawn this way before, besides this one story. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Scarecrow, but it doesn't really match the figure. Scarecrow Blacklight Edition. On the back side, we have a certificate of authenticity. This is number 1,343 out of 3,000. Here's a look at the Blacklight Scarecrow's collector's card on the left, next to the original version of the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow's card on the right. And here's the collector's card inside of its display stand. Now, it doesn't do much for me, but if you want to display this next to your figure, here you go. Now let's take a look at the Blacklight stand. It comes in 7 different pieces. Here's a look at the main part. As you can see, it's a black circle. It's got one peg for the peg holes on the feet. Kind of hollow looking. The first step is going to be to attach these 2 clips. They have a couple of holes in them for the posts. Here are the 2 posts attached to this blacklight stand. Next is going to be to attach the lights. Now these lights here, it's a pretty cool feature. They have a little switch on the back, turn it on and off. Once you have the lights attached, it's going to look about like this. Now the lights, they can rotate, and they're also sort of hinged to go up and down. Now you want to attach the actual figure. Here's the figure standing in the blacklight stand, and without the blacklights on, in a completely lit room, Then, with the black lights on him from the stand in a completely lit room, you can kind of see the effect. Here he is in a semi-lit room with the black light effects on him, and then in a completely dark room with the black lights on him. Now these lights are very weak. It's a really cool idea, and it's really cool to have a display stand that comes with the figure with lights and batteries and all that good stuff. But the lights are very dim. I have a blacklight flashlight from Amazon, really cheap, and it's probably 10 times more powerful. Here's a look at the Scarecrow in a fully lit room with my blacklight flashlight on him. Here he is in a semi-lit room with a blacklight flashlight, and then in a completely dark room. You can just see how much more apparent the effect is like this. Now I wanted to check out the differences between this blacklight version of the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow and the original release. And besides the obvious paint differences, there are absolutely no sculpting differences. It's 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation. So let's take a look. Starting with their heads here, as you can see, they have the same face. But man, this guy is done in such a bright color scheme, it's really weird looking. Scarecrow is meant to be sort of creepy like this guy here. Straw hats. You can see that tube that goes to the top. His is bright pink. His is done in a green color. Their sort of poncho or shawl. Very different color scheme. It's just ridiculously light and vibrant here. Bright. You can see the flesh on his hand versus this one. He's got a black hand. A little bit more natural color here. We have some silver, but here it's pink. And they're both green. As we go further down, the legs are very similar, but he has sort of pink blotched paint all over him. He's got those pink sort of blotches all over, and it's very weird. As a whole, I'm not a fan of the original design, and I like the blacklight design even less. Here are all three of the Entertainment Earth exclusive Blacklight Edition figures. We have the Zernar Batman and the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow and Joker. Rumor is the next one is going to be a Blacklight Mr. Freeze. I believe it's the Rebirth Mr. Freeze, and it's going to be a similar paint scheme as the Platinum Edition, but of course it'll be blacklight reactive. And here are all the different versions of the McFarlane DC Multiverse Scarecrow they've done. Arkham Knight, Infinite Frontier, and Last Night on Earth. Maybe one day they'll give us a sort of normal comic Scarecrow. McFarlane would do an excellent job with that. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the very top of his hat, standing at about 7.7 inches tall, which could translate to about 19.5 centimeters. Now for his articulation, starting with his head. Of course, it can rotate from side to side. The hair is going to obstruct it. It's not getting all the way over his shoulders. You can look up and down just a little bit. Can't really tilt his head from side to side because of the hair. Shoulders and a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. Looks like he does have a bicep cut. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. In his torso, he's got a ball joint in the top part here. Rotate around, forward and back, and then he has another one below that. Rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in his torso area, and it's all hidden very nicely under his clothing. Legs, complete of splits. McFarlane style hip joints. The rotation, it's actually good on this guy. Then you go forward, about that much, back not much. Double jointed knees below that. Then his ankles, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, toe articulation. Now I know this is not how it was in the Infinite Frontier comics, but this Scarecrow just gives me an Asian vibe. I mean, between his hat, then we have his poncho. What is he, Asian? Is he Mexican? Here he is, in an Asian type setting. Then, Scarecrow wielding a sword in Chinatown. Here's Scarecrow next to Raiden. They're both wearing a Ranagasa hat. Even though this is not what it's intended for, this Scarecrow could easily work in an Asian ninja type setting. Here he is, with the Ninja Joker and a couple of Joker Dragons. But all joking aside, here's a shot of this Infinite Frontier Scarecrow, holding a bag of fear dust. He's got his hands, his needles, just terrifying. Here's a look at the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow in front of an abandoned shack under full black light. Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Scarecrow figures. Here he is, next to the most recently released McFarlane Scarecrow figure. This is the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive gold label amber variant of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow. And I'll say, he's a fantastic figure. I can't wait for the regular paint variant. And then all the McFarlane Scarecrow figures. All three of these figures actually has the fear needles for fingers. The next Scarecrow we're going to get is the regular version of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow. And at one point, there were rumors of an Injustice 2 Scarecrow. And here he is, next to all the DC Direct and DC Collectible Scarecrow figures that I have. I'm missing at least 2. Then, here he is next to all of my Mattel Scarecrow figures. I would love it if they would make a classic, iconic version of Scarecrow. Tall, lanky, creepy. It doesn't even have to necessarily be like that. Mattel made this guy. He's a Yellow Lantern Scarecrow. But I was shocked Mattel never straight just repainted this guy and released him as a more modern version of Scarecrow. Both very solid releases. And here, next to the Mafex Scarecrow, and now, next to an older Kenner Scarecrow. Here are all the different Scarecrow figures I have in my collection, and I can't wait to add some more. Now over the years, I've used a lot of different figures for Scarecrow thugs or henchmen, army building, and having henchmen for my main Batman villains is my specialty. Here are some of the earliest ones that I got. These are older Toy Biz, Spider-Man, Jack-o'-lantern figures. And here, next to some later Toy Biz, Marvel Legends, Jack-o'-lantern figures. These are some of my favorite and oldest Scarecrow henchmen. And here's Scarecrow, next to some Hasbro, Marvel Legends, Jack-o'-lantern figures. Then, next to a couple of Arkham Knight Scarecrow henchmen. Later, McFarlane made some Fortnite figures. I saw the Skull Trooper and thought it would be a perfect Scarecrow henchman. I got 4 of these guys. And all 5 of the figures in front of you are by McFarlane Toys. McFarlane made a paint variant. This is a Walgreens exclusive glow-in-the-dark version. Even more Scarecrow henchmen. Then, Jazzwares came out with their 6-inch scale Fortnite figures. And they had a Skull Trooper. I thought to myself, I've got 4 of the other 2. I've got to get 4 of this one. So I did just that. Now I have 6-inch and 7-inch scale Scarecrow henchmen. They proceeded to make a repaint as well. This was the black and white version, the standard version, much better than the purple one they first released. But at this point, I'm thinking, please, nobody make any more Skull Trooper varieties. My Scarecrow does not need an army. And of course, they didn't listen. They made yet another variety. Now Hasbro has a Fortnite license, and I bet you they're going to release their version of the Skull Trooper. I have a Scarecrow henchman for any scenario. Now let's check them out, next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here are all 3 of the Scarecrow figures McFarlane has made. Here's Scarecrow, next to Grifter and the Damian Wayne Robin. These are all 3 of the characters that are specifically labeled Infinite Frontier by McFarlane Toys. Add in the Robin variants, and these are all the Infinite Frontier figures McFarlane has made so far. Now let's check them out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the other 2 figures I got from McFarlane Toys today. The Future State Superman and the New 52 Static Shock. I will admit, there are some well done figures, but kind of weak releases as far as I'm concerned. I don't really need this caveman, savage Superman, although he is very well done. I feel the exact same about Scarecrow, and I don't think Static Shock looks very good. And here he is, next to the Page Punchers, which I thought I had complete, and then they went and announced the black and white Black Adam. Here's Scarecrow, next to the Black Adam movie wave. And here he is, next to the Blackest Night wave, collective build Atrocitus. Then, next to the 2 most recent Mega figures, Killer Croc and Man-Bat, at least before the Black Adam Mega figures. And then I guess Bane and Necron are shipping right now as well. Here he is, next to both versions of Martian Manhunter. Then, next to the Target exclusive Crime Syndicate collective build Star the Conqueror, Ultraman, Superwoman, and Owlman. Here, next to all three versions of Lex Luthor in his power suit. Then, next to both versions of the Future State Dark Detective Batman. And now, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive paint variants of the Arkham Knight Scarecrow and Red Hood. And here, with the Tales of the Dark Multiverse Duke Thomas and the Batman Who Laughs dressed as Batman. Here's Scarecrow next to the Batman vs. Hush 2-pack. And here, next to the single release of Hush. Then, next to Ghostmaker, here he is, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Gold Label Unmasked Zernar Batman and Unmasked Infinite Frontier Robin. Then, with the John Kent Superboy and the Tim Drake Red Robin. And finally, next to the Infinite Frontier Grifter and the Arkham Knight. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know what designs you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jakks-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing next to some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, with some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite. Overall, the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow is a very unique design, but not one I'm very fond of. It just looks weird. It does not scream Scarecrow to me in any way, shape, or form. In addition to that, the blacklight version is even further from Scarecrow. The color scheme, it's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, I understand they made it in colors that are going to react to blacklight. But, just look at this thing. This is like Scarecrow from Woodstock. If I were to rate this guy, gosh, it's hard to explain. As is, probably 5 out of 10. Weak, disappointing figure. Wasn't fond of the original version, and I'm even less fond of this one. But the blacklight thing, it's gimmicky and a little bit cool. That's going to bump him up to a 5.5. He's cool because of the blacklight feature, but everything else is just kind of dumb. What little I appreciate of the original Infinite Frontier Scarecrow, the uniqueness of the design, it's all sort of lost in this guy because the paint job is just so whack. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.